everybody, it's Sarah, and today I will have my promised video that I told you about in my 1 year on booktube video. If you have not seen it yet, I will leave it in the description box down below. So this is going to be my first bookshelf tour. And it started raining right now. I really hope that I will be able to use this and that the rain won't be too loud. But anyways, since I do have quite a few bookshelves, I thought I wouldn't just film one video because I do not want it to be like 40 minutes or something, and I do want to talk about some of the books. And so I will have 4 bookshelf tours. The bookshelf tour today will be my general shelf, which is this one here, and here you can just find generally like the books that I read but I didn't particularly like but still like, because actually here I don't have any books that I didn't like, because I don't have enough space here for all of my books. So at least a third, maybe half of the books that I own are still at my mom's apartment, and I probably won't make a bookshelf tour of those books because those are the books that I was kind of meh about or that I intend to get rid of anyways. So let me get started. I'm sorry if here on the topmost shelf my camera is a bit shaky because I have to hold it by hand because I don't have a tripod that's big enough. But anyways, as you can see here, I have mostly YA and a lot of Greek retelling and then some fairy tale retellings. But anyways, let me get started over here with my Rick Riordan collection. I have here the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, which consists of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. Then I have the Heroes of Olympus series, the first book being The Lost Hero, then The Son of Neptune, The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, which so far has been my favorite of all the books that I have read by Rick Riordan, and lastly The Blood of Olympus. Then I have 2 more books by Rick Riordan, The Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle, and Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer, both being the first book in their respective series. I have one more Greek retelling YA, and that is The Goddess Test by Amy Carter. Next I have the Goddess of series by P.C. Cost. Those are all kind of standalone companion novels, and most of them are retellings of Greek legends. In the back I have 2 in German. I have Goddess of the Sea and Goddess of Love. Goddess of Spring, Goddess of Troy, Goddess of Legend, Goddess of the Rose, and Goddess of Light, which actually might be my favorite. And lastly, I have another YA series right here. It's also a retelling but not a Greek retelling, and it's the Lunar Chronicles by Melissa Meyer. The first book is Cinder, the second Scarlet, the third Cress, and the fourth Winter. And right there in the back I have the novella collection Stars Above. So on to the second shelf. Here I have mostly paranormal romance, adult paranormal romance. It's basically taken by 2 series, and that's the Anita Blake series and the Suki Stackhouse series. I will still have to hold the camera, so I'm sorry if it's a bit shaky. Let's start with the Anita Blake series right here. I have a few of them in German in the back, which I will try to get out, but I'm not sure yet. But otherwise, I first have the second book in the series here, which is The Laughing Corpse. Then I have the 6th one, which is Bloody Bones. Now it's going onwards with the numbers. This is the 7th one, The Killing Dance, Blue Moon, Obsidian Butterfly, Narcissus in Chains, Cerulean Sins, Micah, and then Incubus Dreams. In the back you can already see the German editions that I have. I have the first one, which is Guilty Pleasures in English. Then the 3rd one, which is Circus of the Damned. And this is the 4th one, I think, which is Lunatic Cafe. And here I have a bind up of the first 2 books in the Meredith Gentry series. A Kiss of Shadows, and A Caress of Twilight. Here I have the 14th book in the Anita Blake series, Danse Macabre, then The Harlequin, Blood Noir, and then on it goes with the Mary Chantry series. The third book is Seduced by Moonlight, A Stroke of Midnight, Mistral's Kiss, A Lick of Frost, Swallowing Darkness, and Divine Misdemeanors. And now on it goes again with my Anita Blake series. Sorry if that's a bit confusing, and somewhere in between those 4 books there's one missing. Skin Trade, Flirt, I love this cover by the way, Hit List, and Kiss the Dead. And all of these books right now were by Laurel K. Hamilton. Now we continue on with Charlene Harris and the Suki Stackhouse series. And first I have the True Blood Omnibus, which is the first 3 books, which are Dead Until Dark, Living Dead in Dallas, and Club Dead. Then I have the 5th book, because the 4th one is this one right here, and that is Dead as a Doornail, Definitely Dead, Altogether Dead, From Dead to Worse, Dead and Gone, and Dead in the Family. Then I have Dead to the World, which is the 4th book, which I have in the beautiful TV show edition starring Alexander Skarsgård, who is just so beautiful. I also have Dead Reckoning, Dead Locked, and A Touch of Dead, which is a bind-up of 4 novellas. Next I have a fantasy shelf, which mostly has books on it that kind of blur the line between YA and adult high fantasy, but they're like good for both, I guess. First I have here The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Then I have Aragon and Eldest from the Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. Next is the Codex Alera, The Furies of Calderon, Academ's Fury, Curse's Fury, Captain's Fury, Princip's Fury, and lastly First Lord's Fury, all by Jim Butcher. For this series I just love that I have the German books, because I think they just look so beautiful on the shelf. Next I have the Rhiannon's Ride trilogy by Kate Forsyth. The first book is The Tower of Ravens, the second book is The Shining City, and the third one is Heart of Stars. And I just love those covers, I think they are really beautiful. Then I have the Magician's Guild series by Trudy Canavan. The first one is The Magician's Guild, then The Novice, and The High Lord. The last 2 books on the shelf are the first 2 books in the Books of Pelennor series by Alison Croggon. The first one is The Naming, and the second one The Riddle. Here I have a shelf in between which doesn't have, well, almost doesn't have any books, and they are just tidbits from here and there that I collected over time, and I just want to show you a few of those. First I have here 2, I don't know if it's bronze or copper cups with all of my bookmarks, as well as a cigar which I got for my birthday from a friend for some reason. And yeah, I still have it right here. In front I have a telescope. Do you call it a telescope? I don't know, but it's pretty long and it doesn't work. In the back right here, you can't really see them, are a few miniature books. They are mostly just like simple wisdoms in one sentence, and then there's a cookbook, and yeah, again, wisdom. And I have this little sign, I guess. And I got this from my mom at some time, and it says, a special daughter and after all those years a special friend. And I just think it's really nice and it's really beautiful and I love it. In here I just have little tidbits from my travels and just from stuff that I did. And I won't show you right now because, like, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff. But this is the box, and on the box it says random crap from here and there to there and here. And that's what's in it. Here I have a couple of more miniature books. First I have another wisdom book. And I don't know what these editions are called, but I always get one when I see one. And I have Faust by Goethe, I have Hamlet by William Shakespeare, and I have one of the stories from 1001 Night. And this book right here is a beautiful edition of The Goose Maid by the Brothers Grimm, which is my favorite fairy tale. So continuing right here, I have a little statue of the goddess Justitia. I do not know how you call her in English, but she's basically the goddess of fairness and of law, and she has those scales. And because of those scales, I feel like she's kind of my goddess, because my sign is Libra, and so yeah, the scales kind of fit. Then I have a little Cassiopeia, which is Momo's turtle from Michael Ende's Momo. I have a little box which I stole from my mom, and it's because I just thought it's beautiful. And then I have one more box with stuff in it. In the back, I won't get it to the front. I have a fan, which is an old Chinese fan, but I won't open it because it's kind of frail and breaks very easily. I have a little Chinese mask, which my aunt got me from China. I have 2 bells, a scroll of papyrus. I have a little tiny Totoro, who I just love, and it sits on a compass. And the last thing I have right here is all of my coins. I collect different like artsy coins and just coins from, I don't know, like pounds from Britain or something like that. Continuing on with my books, I here have my adult high fantasy shelf, and there's not that many books, but there are quite a few in the back. I first have the Hydron Chronicles by Jennifer Fallon, Wolfblade, Warrior, and Warlord. I also have the Demon Shell trilogy, Medallon, Trezen Keep, and Harshini. Then I have the Tide Lord series, also by Jennifer Fallon, starting with The Immortal Prince, Gods of Amarantha, The Palace of Impossible Dreams, which I just think is such a beautiful title, and The Chaos Crystal. My last series that I own of Jennifer Fallon is here in the back. It's the Second Sons trilogy, starting with Lion of Sendent, The Eye of the Labyrinth, and Lord of the Shadows. Next is the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. R. Martin. Of course, starting with A Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Feast for Crows, A Dance with Dragons, and hopefully I can add Winds of Winter quite soon. And lastly on the shelf, I have all the books that I have so far read for the Hobby-Long Read-Along. First, the Farseer trilogy, starting with Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. And also the Live Ship Traders trilogy, starting with Ship of Magic, Madship, and Ship of Destiny. After this shelf, there's just one more left. Here I have some adult high fantasy, but mostly YA high fantasy and some YA books. Here I have the first novel in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, The Color of Magic. Then I have the Crucial Start trilogy by Jacqueline Carey, Crucial Start, Crucial's Chosen, and Crucial's Avatar. Next are all of my Sarah J. Maas books. First, the Throne of Glass series, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, and the novella bind-up The Assassin's Blade. Then the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, starting of course with A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury. Next I have Graceling by Kristen Kashor, and now we get to my German authors' books. Inkheart by Cornelia Funke. The second book, Ink Blood. I'm not sure if it's translated like that into English. And the last book, Ink Death. And here I have my Kirsten Gier books, Ruby Red, Sapphire Blue, and Emerald Green. And I'm not sure what the second series is called in English. I think it's probably just the Book of Dreams. But here's the first Book of Dreams and the second Book of Dreams. And down here is the last shelf. This is some more paranormal romance, both adult and YA, and then just some random books. Starting out with my Carrie Arthur collection. The first book in the Riley Jensen series, Full Moon Rising. I don't have the second one. The third one is Tempting Evil, Dangerous Games, Embracing Darkness, The Darkest Kiss, Deadly Desire, Bound to Shadows, and the last one is Moonsworn. I actually forgot that I had the second one in the back in German, and the second one is Kissing Sin. Then I have the Spook Squad trilogy. The first one is Memory Zero, Generation 18, and Penumbra. Then I have Beneath a Rising Moon, which is part of a companion duology. The Nikki and Michael series, Dancing with the Devil, Hearts in Darkness, and Chasing the Shadows. I have two more Carrie Arthur books. The first one is Darkness Unbound, the first book in the Dark Angel series. Then I have Life Made Connections, and I didn't see this last one. This is Destiny Kills, which probably might be one of my favorites of all of Carrie Arthur's books. A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, the first book in the Old Souls trilogy. Hounded by Kevin Hearn, which is the first book in the Iron Druid Chronicles. Next I have a few Janine Frost books. All of them are from the Night Huntress novels. This is At Grave's End, and this is the third book in the series. I borrowed the first two books from a friend, so I don't own them. Destined for an Early Grave, This Side of the Grave, a spin-off novel, First Drop of Crimson, and Once Burned is another spin-off. Now we get to the last few YA books. The Anna Dressed in Blood duology by Kendar Blake, of course starting with Anna Dressed in Blood and finishing with Girl of Nightmares. I can't leave away Stephanie Meyer. I don't have the first book in English or right here right now. So starting with the second book, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. And this, of course, were books from the Twilight Saga. And I also own The Host, but in German. I have two more retellings to show you. The first one is The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. Then I have a little kind of thing where I can store my money. Now all of you know where my money is. Well, just kidding. I do not have any money in here. But the last book on the shelf, another retelling, is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renée Ahdieh. So this right now was more or less my general bookshelf. Well, it wasn't more or less, it was my general bookshelf. And I really hope this doesn't end up too long, but you can probably see why I decided to split my bookshelf tour up. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe. Also, my other bookshelf tours will be up in the next few days or maybe weeks. It depends on how good I'm with editing. But all the links to my social media are in the description box down below. And I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!